welcome, guys. I am Catherine Miller. I am the Positive Parenting Coordinator for Boone County Children's Services Board, and we are funded by the Boone County Children's Services Board, and I work for Boone County Early Childhood Coalition. So lots of Boone counties. So this program is funded by the Boone County Children's Service Board. So as long as you live in Boone County and have a child who's under 18, we can serve you for free, which is awesome. And that's why we have you fill out those forms that we asked you to. That's how we keep it free. So tonight we're going to be talking about rules, boundaries, and communicating values to your children. So as we look at things, we're going to talk about limit setting and what's the difference between a threat and a warning. So if we think about threats, you think about things that are said to you that really don't have anything specific. So usually threats are general. Threats use a specific tone that can be thought of as angry, rude, distrustful, or abrasive. Threats are often used when parents feel like they have no other alternative or they feel out of control. And threats are often empty with no real intention of follow through. So if you think about a threat, like if you don't clean your room, I'm going to throw all your toys away. You know, what's the likelihood that you're going to gather up all those toys and throw them away? It's probably not. And then the next time your child goes in the room and the toys are still there, then they no longer trust or believe the things you say. A threat usually comes off angry, right? We usually aren't threatening someone nicely. So your tone of voice makes a difference, and the way you project your voice makes a difference. So then if we look at warnings, warnings are usually specific, right? If you're thinking as adults, if you get pulled over and you're speeding, you would like to get a warning versus the threat. I will give you a ticket. You would much rather take the warning. If you speed again and get pulled over, you will get a ticket because I'm going to document this in our system, right? So it's very clear. If you're speeding again and you get caught, you're getting a ticket versus that threat of, the threat is just there. If you see the lights behind you and you say, I'm getting a ticket, right? They really hadn't even said anything, but it's the situation and how it presents itself that trouble is coming. So no one likes to see red and blue lights behind them for any other reason. Or if you've ever been in the car and a song plays and it plays the sirens and you're instantly paranoid, right? Because we have that triggered response now. There's nothing good about lights behind you, whether it's an ambulance or it's the police, there's not good lights behind you. Warnings are usually said in a calm but direct tone. It's also said with little or no emotion. So the next time you hit your brother, the following things will happen, right? You're trying to say it in a calm voice. I want you to hear the things that we're saying, and this is how it is. Warnings help children to know what to expect next. So usually you're saying the next time that this is what's going to happen. So the child is clear and able to accept usually the consequence that comes with it because you've given them that warning and told them what's the next step. And then they made the choice of accepting the next step, thus accepting the consequence. If they don't know what's coming and you say, that's it, you hit your brother, you're grounded. Okay, I thought maybe last time I hit him, you just told us to stop. Or the last time he hit me, nothing happened. And so your child is confused about the things that they should do or what's going to happen next. Warnings are usually followed up by action. So kind of as I mentioned, the next time you hit your brother, you will not be able to go outside and play again without me going outside with you because maybe they're hitting while they're outside without an adult. Warnings usually focus on learning, even if it's worse before it gets better. So we're trying to change behavior. So if hitting is a problem, we're giving warnings, we're giving consequences, and hopefully those consequences will help children to stop hitting. Thus, they're learning we don't hit people. So that's kind of the goal in giving consequences is for change behavior. All right, so what are some examples of threats and warnings? I've given you a few of them. A lot of times, we threaten things. So we're going to go to family dinner. The kids aren't acting right. And you say to two of them, that's it. If you guys don't get it together, when we go out to eat, you're getting nothing. So they're just going to sit at the table and watch everyone eat. Probably not, right? You're going to order them food and they're going to eat just like the rest of you. And then they're not going to believe you anymore. What are some other threats that we do? One of my favorites is if you don't clean your room, then you're never going to have any toys again. Probably not true either, right? A lot of things that we say in anger or we say at the spur of the moment, and then we can't follow through with them. And so then we're left with kids who don't believe the words we say because we have been um, not following through with them. Think about the boss who lets people slide, being late, being late, being late. And he says, next time you're late, you're fired. You're like, will I really be fired? I've worked here for 10 years and only been on time like 6. What's the likelihood they're going to fire me? When your boss has been inconsistent, you don't think so. But the boss who says, you come in late again, I'm writing you up, you take your chances and you're written up. The next time he says you come in late again, you might be fired. You're gonna believe that, right? He wrote me up. So I possibly could be fired. So I'm more likely to change my behavior once a consequence has been given that has been said. All right. So limit setting. Limit setting focuses on threats versus warnings, some of the things we said. So it usually comes from parents' dysregulation. You're mad, you're angry, you're upset with what's going on, and you're giving a threat, right? Usually lacks follow through, kind of like we discussed. You're usually saying it in an angry tone, it's delivered harshly. The consequences is disproportionate to the offense. So usually it's something that you're really, really upset about. You find the kid that's snuck on the phone, right? They're supposed to plug their phone up in the evening before bed. They're supposed to leave it in the living room. You find it in your room. You say, that's it. I'm taking the phone. You're never getting it back. You're probably giving it back tomorrow because you don't like being disconnected from your child and you want to know when the sports is over because you don't want to go sit for hours hoping that the football coach is going to let them out on time. In case you were wondering, coaches don't let kids out on time. It just doesn't happen. So just prepare yourself. But that's why you're going to give them the phone back. So you're not sitting out in the parking lot waiting, right? And then it's meant to make the child feel bad. You want them to feel like it's so egregious that they won't do it again. I'm keeping your phone. You're grounded for a month. You're never going outside again. You know, I guess they're not going to school or they're not going wherever you guys are going. But we say things because we want some type of instant change. So warnings come from a place that's usually calm. It's usually help the child understand the rules and expectations. Usually you try to have the consequence related to the behavior. Parents follow through, and the goal is to give the child another chance. So if you say, if we can't turn the pages of the book nicely, we're not going to be able to read the book. We don't turn the pages of the book nicely. Oh, the book is unavailable it is unavailable today, but maybe we can try again tomorrow. Because we want them to learn how to turn the pages of the book nicely so we don't rip up books, right? And we don't turn them in ripped up for the next person. And if you do, and you get a book that's ripped up, which is then be taped, you say, see what happened? This was a child who didn't turn the pages softly. And then it got ripped, and that's why there's tape on it. So we want to treat it nicely for the next person. So even if you get a book with tape, it can be a learning experience, right? So how do we kind of limit set those threats? Some would be like, if you don't go to sleep right now, you'll lose shows tomorrow. And that might be true, right? They're not going to be able to watch a show tomorrow, but then we're taking away something that already starts the next day. So we're starting on in a deficit. If you don't leave the park right now, I won't bring you here again. And you may even try to hang on to that and just not go to that park again. Probably you're not going to never go to parks again, but maybe not that park because I said I wouldn't bring you here again. And it's probably your favorite park. It's probably close to you. It's probably the one you enjoy the best. And now you're going to not go to it because you said so, right? So warnings would be, it's not safe to climb that. If you climb up there again, we'll have to go into the other room and play. Or if you talk loudly in the library, look, it's really there. We will have to leave, right? So we're really teaching rules and we're teaching the way that we are supposed to act at a place. So what are some important reminders when we're setting limits? We really want things to be logical consequences. Saying that you're never going to be able to do anything isn't very true. So you're never going to go outside again. You're never going to be able to read books again. You're never going to eat dinner again. Things that can't come true. So we truly try to avoid that word never. If you can't think of a logical consequence, it's probably not the best strategy to use at the moment. So you may say something like, I really don't like the behavior. We're going to take a moment. I would like you to go to your room and then we'll come back and talk about it. Give yourself a moment to calm down and to think of a logical consequence. So you're not yelling something out that doesn't make any sense. So say to them, we can take a break, basically, is what we're doing, right? Your actions are going on right now. That action has to stop. And we're going to go to your room. You're going to go sit on the couch. You're going to sit on the space. We're just taking a break. So basically, you as a parent can get yourself together and then give a consequence that makes sense. So if you said, for example, you're so mad, you're going to go up your room. You're not coming back down the rest of the night. Well, they haven't eaten dinner. They haven't taken a bath. They haven't got their pajamas on. And so you're probably going to let them out. So if you yell that in anger right then and there, you're going to go against what you just said. But if you say, go up into your room, I'm going to come back and talk to you. You can go back and say, the way you're behaving was not appropriate. And because of that, now we're not going to be able to go back outside and play. So we're going to have to stay in. We're going to lose our playtime. And then we're going to have dinner, bath, and bed. So I'm sorry, you can't go back outside, but tomorrow we can try again.
The good news is the participant says it's better. The sound is better suddenly. So I don't know how to get it to stop going through your laptop, but
maybe because I was closer to the out.
But
we'll get better at this.
Get better at this. Gotta get better.
So why might we use threats even if you know better? So sometimes we want an instant result. We're so angry, we just want to get something out, and we want the kid to comply. So if you don't get over here, we're never coming back to this park. So you're hoping that they love the park enough that they'll just come right over to you. But what happens when they don't? Parents who are exhausted or tired may use threats. Why? Because they are tired and exhausted. It's things that you say in last regards. Sometimes we do things that have a negative effect. We may start to bribe a kid instead. So if you come in and do this, I'll give you some candy. Right? So they should have already done it. That was the rule. That's what you've asked of them. They didn't comply. And now you're going to reward the non-compliance to get compliance. So what we teach them is, if I don't listen to you the second time, I'll wait for the truth. Then I'll do it. So they'll never do, oh, should we say never? No. Yeah. But they won't usually do what you've asked of them the first time around. Oftentimes they hear the moment with little thought of what's being said. So we kind of mentioned that. You just think about what's on the top of your head and you just blurt it out. Threats can stem from a reaction to a tough behavior. Then the parent reacts in annoyance, anger, or frustration. So your child is flailing, you try to get them up, they headbutt you in the chin, and now you're mad. And then the next thing is you may let them go harshly and go up to your room, not coming back out the rest of the night. Go up to your room, you're grounded for the rest of the year. It's January. Things like that. You may not realize how empty the threat or words are. Example, we'll eat dinner and you'll starve forever. Probably not. One of my favorites is when parents want to get the house cleaned up before they go on vacation. And they say, whoever's room's not clean, they're not going on vacation with us. What are you going to do with them? Do you have an alternative for someone to stay with them? Is someone else going to watch your kid while you go on vacation? Are you really going to leave somebody in the family out of vacation because they didn't clean the room? And the other kids are like, yeah, this one didn't clean its room. You're not going. They're co-signing, not going. And then the room is dirty. It's time to leave. And there they are, buckled in the seat, ready to go with the family. So now your other kids don't believe you, and there's no reason for them to stay motivated to do what you asked them to do the first time around either. All right, so let's kind of look at why might you be struggling with some of these things as a parent. Dr. Nicole Berkins, this is where some of these things come from. You see underneath the arrow, I'll give her credit for that. But if you're struggling with setting boundaries with your kids, it might be you're confusing boundaries with rules. So boundaries are things that we as parents set. It's kind of like your last regards to things. How far are you willing to let people push it? And then what are the rules that are set with those boundaries? So boundaries are about what you will do, not what your child will do. A boundary is something you have control over. So if you're asking your child, how do I get my child to do X, Y, Z? You're talking about a rule and how to control them. That's not a boundary. So boundaries are about safety and well-being. They let kids know exactly what we will and won't tolerate and how we'll handle things. Boundaries bring ease and security to the parent-child relationship because the only thing that you can ever control is yourself. And trying to control your child is a recipe for frustration and conflict. So what do I mean by that? So your boundary is, I don't want my child to be out in the road, right? So the rule is, so your child doesn't end up in the road, is when we leave this building, you're going to take my hand. Because you as a parent has set boundaries. I don't want my child running around in the parking lot. I don't want my child close to the road. And so you set a rule that would help them to not get to that level and push that boundary. So if you think about what happens when you don't have a rule, so you guys walk out of the library, nobody's holding a hand, they fly down those steps much faster than you because maybe you're older, maybe you have bad knees, maybe you're carrying a bag, and then they're out in the parking lot. And you're dropping things, you're running because you're trying to get your child from safety, and then you snatch them up, boom. And maybe you do catch them, maybe you don't. But you're ready to yell at them. You're so angry. Why would you run out in the street? You know better. You can get hurt very seriously. A car can run over you and you've lost control. But had we set a rule related to your boundary, we might not have been there. So when we leave the library, you hold my hand, we walk down the steps. I'll let go of your hand when we get to the car so that we can get in. So we have clear rules set so that we don't break those boundaries. All right, so when we're looking at things as boundaries, those are things that we don't allow. So perhaps you don't allow your child to cuss. They will probably not do so in your presence, but outside your presence is probably going to happen. You ever been to a school event and like a football game and hear all the children not with adults? It's fine. But your rule may be, we do not cuss. The boundary is if I hear it, there's extreme consequences. So what's the rule? We don't cuss. We don't say cuss words. We find alternative words to use. And so they do find alternative words to use. And sometimes they're almost equivalent to the word, right? We as adults sometimes do that too, because we have the magic ability, even if we are the person who cusses, when we walk into our job, we no longer feel the need to cuss for whatever reason. We can snatch it right off. We found alternative words to use. Our brain knows we don't cuss at work because we like being employed and we can control it. As soon as we step back out, maybe you pick up the phone, call your friend, and there it goes. It's just like it never was turned off. And so we talk about that self-regulation, and our kids are just like us. They learn how to turn it off and turn it back on. But usually those are set with rules and boundaries, right? The boundary is, if you cuss at work, it's not accepted, you could get fired. And so the rule is you don't cuss at work. And you have been able to adapt to that rule, and you know the boundaries, and thus you're still employed because you haven't cussed at work. Now, when you go into the break room and you may feel a little safe space, maybe you let some words fly, right? But you're usually checking out the boundaries of the people within, right? Is that so-and-so who might tell on you? Might not say those words about them. Is this like a trusted coworker who also cusses and we're going to let them fly back and forth to get it out of our system before we go back? Perhaps. So oftentimes we can think of ourselves in our children's position. It really helps to think about things and how they might see things. I often talk about to parents, when we give rewards to our kids, one thing we want to do is take those rewards away, right? You no longer have earned the M&Ms I gave you today. You no longer deserve the money that you earned, it's back. So if you worked all day, the next day you weren't such a productive worker and your boss says, that's it, give me your pay from yesterday. You're not working for me today, I want my money back. You'd be highly offended. I worked yesterday. No, that's my money. I'm not paying you anything back. That's how our kids feel when we take back what we've already given them. So think about when we reward our children, once it's rewarded, it's theirs. We don't take those things back. So in saying that, think about what you're rewarding your children. Is it something that you're going to be used against them later? So you're going to want to say, and now you're not getting the rest of those fruit snacks I told you you'd get. Well, I earned that package earlier, and you said I could have one now and the rest after dinner, but now I don't get any. So now they're not going to trust you. You're creating a distrust with your children and they can't believe the things that you're going to say. And so we really don't want to do that. And we really want to think about the things that we say, the boundaries that we set, the rules that we set, and being consistent with those rules. All right, so are you checking yourself? Oftentimes we have to look at ourselves and check ourselves. Listen to yourself as you interact, check your tone. I have teenagers. Sometimes it's not what they're saying, it's how they're saying it. And I will look at them and say, check your tone. It's really not about the words. It's really about how you're speaking to me right now. Our children deserve that same respect. So think about your tone, the voice that you're having with them. Are you giving warnings or are you giving threats? Are you helping them to learn from the situation or are you teaching them what not to do, but not what to do in the future, right? So if your child is jumping on the couch and you want the rule to be that we treat our furniture with respect and we don't jump on the furniture, if we just say no jumping on the couch, a lot of children will be like, that's fine. Now I'm scooting on the couch. Now I'm rolling on the couch. Now I'm 1 foot hopping because you didn't say define hopping, right? Instead, we set the rule of a couch is for sitting. Our feet go on the floor, our bottom goes on, our back is against. And yes, we do have to be that specific with our children because some of our children are so smart, they're looking for the loophole. Now, that may benefit them later in life. They're a forward thinker and they're thinking of the loopholes and they're a boss and they're thinking of the thing that may be great problem solving for your child, but not right now with you and challenging you. So what's the rule? Now, we may put some caveats in there. When we're watching a movie, we are allowed to lay on the couch. Laying on the couch looks like, right? We're making an exception and we're explaining the exception clearly. So we've given 2 ways to be on the couch. We could be sitting or we could be laying. We've put what the rule is, not what not to do. Because I guarantee you, they'll find the loophole. And then are we giving empty threats? You don't sit at this table, you're never coming back down to the table to eat again. Yes, you could feed them elsewhere the rest of their life. But most people have decided they're going to eat together at a family at the table because that's the table is where they eat, even if it's not as a family. We eat on the table. So there's those empty threats of saying things that you can't uphold. Now, I will, if you have young children, I'll give you a little tip, totally free. I mean, the whole thing was free, but tip is also free. If you're going to say, I'm going to throw away your toys, gather McDonald's toys, right? Pick them up. They're gone. Trash. Never getting them back. You throw them away. Let them see it go into the trash. Gone. How much did it cost you? $3.59. And they saw you were serious. It's even sadder on trash day. Gone to the curb. Gone for good. And they watch it drive off with the trash truck. Truly gone for good. And it's a sad day. But now they know you're serious. You'll really throw away a toy. When they say, do you want me to throw away toys? They'll think, I remember when. And I don't. And I will thus pick it up. But again, if you're willing to get rid of $29.99 Buzz Lightyear, you got to do it. So make sure you're willing to do whatever you're going to say you're going to throw away. You're willing because they didn't pay anything for it, more than likely. So if you're willing to give away your money, then you can use that threat. If it's broken Buzz Lightyear, it doesn't work anymore, you're willing to let it go, go ahead. But I'm just telling you, we can't give those empty threats. But I'm a fan of trashing McDonald's toys to serve your purpose.